Hey everybody, this is LittleOldMii, and this is the second episode of All About Redstone, which is a minor series of the major series all about Minecraft. So, anyways, once you have mined your redstone and you got your redstone dust, you pretty much get this, and when you put it on the ground, looks like pretty much nothing. No, looks pretty boring. People in Hormax actually use that for blood, actually. Oops, random stuff. Anyways, looks a lot better today, doesn't it? Let's start. So the first thing you should know about redstone is that you can power it, because when it's just like that on the ground, it's unpowered. So once it's powered, it goes at a certain distance, and as you can see, this is where it stops. And as you can see, these redstone lamps here are on, but this one's off. Now, in case that ever happens, where you need your signal strength to be a bit stronger, you can just use a redstone repeater, and that will make it so that it just travels further. Now, what I do want you to know is that, as you can see, it will travel 15 blocks. If you go at the very last block and put a redstone repeater, just in case you don't have a lot of repeaters, well, it's pretty easy to make, it will travel 15 blocks again, just to let you know that you don't have to put it like every block. Now, what you can also see is when I right click it, it moves this sort of, you can call redstone torch backwards. And that is basically to the delay you can put it at. So, and to show this example properly, I'm gonna use a button, and let's see, let me put this in this direction. Let's put it at 4 ticks, I believe that is. Oops. Let me put that back. Anyway, so 1, 2, 3, and wow, I'm so clumsy. It's because the hitbox changed in 1.9, I believe, and that's why it's a bit why I keep making that mistake. Let me get rid of this. So to show you how it works, let me get a button, which is basically, I'll show you what it is exactly later, but actually I can just use a torch. I don't really need to use a button. And if you take a close look, at the beginning you saw that it almost instantly came there, but if you look now, it takes a little longer. And that's something you can, use it to delay redstone circuits. So that's another use for redstone repeaters. Anyways, once now that I've shown that, let's move to the pressure plates. So the normal pressure plates and the weighted pressure plates are a bit different. And basically, the normal pressure plates is that whenever you stand on it, it will give a signal strength of 15, and it will only be powered once you stand on it. Now, the only difference between the stone pressure plate and the wooden one is that the wooden one allows all entities to power redstone, while the stone one only allows entities like mobs to do that. So if you have any mob coming on this, it will activate, an item won't work, an arrow won't work, basically. Now let's move on the weighted pressure plates. Oops, these hitboxes. So they're pretty much the same as when you stand on it, it will power redstone. Although the only difference though is that these pressure plates work on how many entities are on it. So if I have just one entity on it, it will power 1 redstone, and then the signal gets stronger the more items you throw on it, as you can see here. Now, the iron plate, or the heavy weighted pressure plate, works the exact same way, except that you are gonna have to use a lot more items. And the reason I'm not using the same item is because they can stack and the pressure plate will count it as one item. So you can see it's still at 1, but if I throw enough items on it, and that was not enough clearly, then we get a lot more random stuff on it, and this, you'll see eventually it will get it too. So for the gold, if you basically want to keep in mind the difference between them, basically keep in mind that the golden one will give will power every redstone for every item until 15, because I don't think it was further than that, while the heavy-weighted one, aka the iron plate, will work for every 10 entities. Not items, entities. So I don't really know if people are actually going to use this, but if you wanted to know how these work, this is basically how it works. Now let's move on to the comparators. So here it is. I actually put it in the chest. I didn't find it from there. So the comparator is kind of like the heavy-weighted pressure plates, where depending on how many items you have in an area, in this case I'll use a chest for an example, but there's a lot more blocks you can use for this. For example, cake is one of them, and cauldrons, and many items with inventories. But basically, depending on how many blocks you have in the space, it will power it. So let's put like 1 stack. Oh, and it's raining. Wait, be right back. Okay. So as you can see, I put 1 stack here, and it basically brought it 1 redstone dust. So let's put another stack in here. And here we go. And you can see it was 2 redstone. And eventually, when you fill it, you know, it will go all the way to 15. And yeah, it's gonna take a while. Now, if you right click it, you can see it does something here, and that will put it in subtract mode. So basically, normally, I think it will turn, well, I'm not 100% sure how it works. I know somebody who knows way better how to explain this. Let me just get rid of all this redstone dust. So yeah, but how I think it works is basically, depending on what signal strength it is, it will make it weaker or stronger. So, wait, where's my comparator? I think I put it in this chest. I only need 1 of them, so. Wait, let me get rid of these very quickly. There you go. So basically, if I put it, let's say here it is pretty strong, and if I put it here, you can see, wait, a little bit back, it's pretty much slightly weaker than this one. Okay, here you won't really see much of a difference. Let me put it here, actually. I think here it will be easier to see the difference. But basically, no, actually. You know what, it's a bit hard to explain, but basically, in subtract mode, it will make the signal strength weaker, and normally it will make it stronger, I think, or just normal. Why do I keep breaking the grass? Let's get rid of it. Oh yeah, there's also something you should know about redstone repeaters is that you can lock them. So if I would put a repeater right here, and if I would put a repeater running into it that is powered, it will be locked. And basically what that means is that if it's not being, oh wait, no, that, let's do the other way around, because this one depends on that one. So let me put it so that it will goes this way instead. So as you can see, since it was unpowered, it will stay unpowered even though it should normally be powered by this redstone repeater. So if I break this, it will get powered, and now, even though it wouldn't be powered normally here, it still is. So that's basically when it's locked, and you can see it sort of has a sort of bedrock texture. Something I forgot to say. So let's move on to, let's see, what else do we got? Let's move on to the daylight detector actually. So currently it is a moonlight detector, but once you right click it, it will become a daylight detector. And basically how it works is that when it's daytime, it will give a redstone signal. When it's nighttime, it won't, unless you turn it into a moonlight detector, and it will work the other way around. So just to demonstrate you, let's set it at nighttime. And as you can see, now it's powered. And if I put a daylight detector, it's still powered, but that's because it's just about to get nighttime. So if I wait a while, it will turn off. But you don't really need to know that, see that, so let me just turn it off. So here we have the buttons, the lever, and the trap chest. So the buttons are pretty much the same. They temporarily power redstone, and basically how they the difference between them is that the stone one is powers the block a lot shorter than the stone one does, and the lever is basically a switch where when you switch it on, it will turn powered redstone, you know, as long as you want. Doesn't have any time, and once you flick it again, it will just keep it off. And this chest here is not a regular chest like this one here, because if I were to put a redstone lamp underneath it, you'll see that it won't do the same thing as this one. So if I open it, you can see the redstone lamp gets powered, although here you can see it doesn't get powered at all, because this is a regular chest. So that can be very useful for making traps for any player, which is also why it's called a trap chest. And over here we have the hopper first, and basically how it works, it will, if I can get everything there, and basically how it works, it will put items that are in the hopper to another block with an inventory, for example a chest, but it will work with other blocks, for example furnaces and dispensers, you know, blocks with inventories like the chest. And I think it's almost empty. Yeah, but something you should also know is whenever you power it, if I do this, you'll see it will stop doing that. It will stop moving the block. So that's something also to keep in mind, just in case you didn't know that. And here we have a dispenser and a dropper. So the difference between the dropper and the dispenser is basically that the dropper will just drop the item, while the dispenser will drop it for most items as well in a pretty fast way. But for some items like arrows and snowballs, it will throw them like you throw it in your hand like so. So let's move on to the tripwire hook. So the tripwire hook is basically connected with string. So you need string in order to actually make it work. I didn't touch it. I didn't know that. When you break it, it gets activated. So, oh yeah, that's something to keep in mind as well. Because, let me reset that. Is when you break tripwire hooks, it will activate. So in case you're making a trap, that is very useful to undo. Now you can keep this from happening using shears. That's something you should keep in mind if you're undoing a trap. But basically how it works is whenever you step on it, it will power any blocks that are nearby, in case these redstone lamps and piston. Now you can also hook it so that it will power redstone, as you can see right here. Now here, as you can see, we have a piston and a sticky piston. Now the difference between them is visible, but you can also see that a piston can push a block as well as the sticky piston, but the sticky piston can also retract it, while the normal piston cannot. Okay, I think that is everything for this. Don't think there is anything else. Let's see. No, I think that is everything. So I hope you enjoyed this video. It may be very useful to you to understand a bit more about how these redstone components work. But anyways, that has been it for me, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.